Welcome to the Third Quarter Warriors podcast. The Third Quarter Warriors are the best team ever, and we are the best podcast ever. Happy Monday, everybody. We are recording this on Saturday, October 1st. Time for some pumpkin spice lattes. We're going to help you start your week out right because on today's episode, we dive into Blake Griffin signing with the Celtics, the most useless trade of NBA history, Haters Corner, and much more. Let's get into it.
Welcome to the third quarter, everybody.
What is this? What is going on right now?
I said, what the hell are you talking about?
What's my package look like? Yo! So, Blake Griffin signed with the Celtics just for a one-year deal, not like a big commitment or anything. I wonder why he's like not valued more than he is. Like no one really wanted him, it seems like the Celtics got him last minute, like right before the season starting. The Nets wouldn't use him, but he's actually very talented, is a hustle, like great defender. He can defend the perimeter and inside, and then takes charges and can shoot pretty well, can score efficiently. I don't know why more teams don't want him. But I also don't know, like, it makes me appreciate LeBron even more. I know somehow I bring LeBron into this, but like Blake Griffin was like one of the most athletic NBA players of all time in his prime. Like there's no debate. Like the stuff he could do and the heights he could jump to. But he's only 33 and he doesn't seem athletic at all now. Like not at all. Like he can still dunk, but like I think he didn't dunk for like a year and a half. He was hurt for like half of that, but what makes him different from LeBron, do you think, Brian, in terms of like LeBron was 33 and like he was still jumping just as high as he ever did, probably. Like, what do you think's different about that?
I think it's just Blake Griffin has had so many injuries in his career. Like the Blake Griffin is like he had to play earlier in his career. He had to play kind of like LeBron, like not like LeBron, but had to use the athleticism that LeBron had used in his like first 2-3 years to be a good player. And like Blake he has the knees of Kawhi, but he has the athletic profile of LeBron. So like his knees just kind of gave out over time, and he just like a lot of players like that's one of the reasons LeBron's so great, because like really up until he was 35, he never had a major injury.
That's
like
true.
he had his groin injury when he was like first year with the Lakers, which people will debate whether he was really even that injured or he just wanted to sit out. Like, but like LeBron's never had injuries really, and he's like one of the most physical players in NBA history. So it's just like unbelievable that he's been able to survive this long. But yeah, I mean, I actually saw this thing about Blake Griffin on Twitter, and they were talking about Blake, like it was one of those Muse accounts on Twitter, and they were posted like Blake Griffin just got signed, like, and they posted his stats, and it was like of the last 4 years, and 4 years ago he was like 25 and 10 or something, and then it was like 15 and 5, and then
Okay.
it was like 10 and 4, and then it was like 6 and 3 and 1. And the captain was like, "Why don't more people want Blake Griffin?" I was like, 6-3-1 is not like nothing pretty
Bro,
much.
but look at his minutes. It's because Steve Nash didn't like him for some reason.
Yeah, like I think Blake Griffin is a valuable player. Like I think I think if the Lakers didn't do what they did last season and like get every player over 33 years old, I think they would have gone after Blake Griffin. But I think last year kind of scared their GM, and they were like, we can't just get a bunch of, over old guys anymore. So
Yeah.
I think he would have fit really well in the Lakers. But I mean, where did he went to the Celtics?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, I think I think he'll be a good player on any team, but I guess maybe they're assuming Al Horford's not going to be able to play as much this season because I mean he's only getting older. I don't know. I think the Celtics like honestly isn't the best fit for him, but maybe he only wanted to go to a contender. That might have been it.
I kind of like it for him. I like the Celtics move for him because, like you said about Horford, I'm pretty sure Horford's going to take as much time off in the regular season as he can, rest days, limited minutes, etc. Probably not even, probably practicing like once a week, honestly.
Yeah.
and then because they play like 3 times a week. But Blake Griffin filling in there as much as he can, and then Horford in the playoffs last year looked and played just like anyone that is 30 years old in the NBA could have played. Like he the one that he dunked on Joel Embiid or Giannis or one of the I don't remember which one it was, but it was like ruthless, and I was like, that guy's athletic.
Like I saw Horford play last year. I was like, this guy has just been waiting to be on a contender. Like this is his dream.
Yeah.
He's been saving all of his athleticism for this moment.
Literally.
And,
it's all
like,
built up in his knees.
But like that's actually a good take. That I feel like that's what the Lakers envisioned Russell Westbrook being last year, but this is obviously a much cheaper version than what they're
Bro,
paying
Russell
Russell.
Westbrook did a great job of that last year, but they just didn't think that everyone else was going to be hurt the whole time. Like AD and LeBron were both going to be fighting injuries, because if AD and LeBron were playing in those games and Russ I think he missed one game last year. If they were playing that much and then LeBron and AD were coasting and then they could go hard in the playoffs, that would have been a different story for the Lakers completely. But it was literally just Russ like he's on the Rockets again when they had like no players.
Yeah. And I mean, they also didn't have Kendrick Nunn at all last season, which was the weirdest thing, with a bone bruise in his knee. That still makes no sense to me.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on with Kendrick Nunn, but yeah, I don't know how much Blake Griffin has left in the tank. I do think that he's still a worthwhile player. He is a vet. He's played with every superstar, so he has at least wisdom to give to the younger Celtics team. So I think it's a good pickup for them overall. Not like they're going to try to run their offense around him like Tatum and Brown like take enough shots for 2 teams. So like it's going to be them. I want to talk next about the Thunder and Rockets trade. So this trade, I saw so many posts about it, and every name in the entire trade I don't care about. These are like guys that I've maybe considered picking up on my fantasy basketball team at one point, but never actually pulled the trigger and picked them up. Every one of these guys, I'm pretty sure. So the Thunder traded Derek Favors, Ty Jerome, Mo Harkless, Theo Maledon, and a 2025 second rounder to the Rockets for David Nwaba, Sterling Brown, Trey Burke, and Marquise Chris. I mean, this is just... I think this is the Thunder saying, we have a bunch of guys that we don't know what to do with. Do you guys have anyone you don't know what to do with? And they're like, yeah, we have 4 guys we don't know what to do with either. And then they're like, all right, bet, let's trade. And so that's literally this whole trade.
Yeah, like I looked at this trade and like I remember when I first saw it, I was like reading through, I was like, okay. I was like reading, I was like, where's who's the guy that they're trading for? And I got to the end and I was like, who's the guy either team is trading for here? Like, even I know the Thunder love draft picks, but a 2025 second rounder, like
the thing is, aren't both like both of these teams are tanking this year, I'm pretty sure. So like it's just like do you think you gave away better players than they did, or like what was the goal?
And like, are any of these players on anything more than like a vet minimum? Like, does this do anything contract wise? I just looked at this and I was like, none of these players are going to play more than what, maybe 8 minutes for either team. Like, I just don't.
I
understand.
can see Favors playing like 15 minutes for the Rockets.
Yeah, I guess Derek Favors is pretty good, like, but not really.
Yeah, not really. Exactly. He's like 19 points in a fantasy basketball league. That's points per shot or whatever.
Yeah, like I think Derek Favors might be at this stage in his career, like maybe a 10-4 guy if you give him 30 minutes. Like, I don't know. It's just, it makes no sense to me. I saw it and I was like, I saw a comment. I was like, trading mid for mid. Like, I was like, yeah. I mean, what else is?
Bro, I'm not even gonna lie. The most valuable player in this trade is the 2025 second rounder.
Probably
like whoever that guy is, that's like playing high school ball right now, that guy's the most valuable pick.
Yeah, maybe you get like some Max Struess type player or something like that. Like, who knows?
I literally think that's what I'd be most excited about. Thunder are like, but like that isn't even like a second rounder isn't even like unless you're gonna find a sleeper, like that's not even
Yeah, like
great.
second rounders usually aren't good, but like I guess I really looked at this and I was like, there has to be some kind of contract thing here that I'm just not uh, interested enough to research.
Wait, I want to look at the best second rounders. All right, so there really weren't that many. Number 10, Doc Rivers, terrible.
Jokic was a second rounder.
All right, well, I'm sure he'll be like number 1 then. Paul Millsap, he was like really good, but not like a superstar.
Yeah, he was. I think he might have made one All-Star team in his career at some point, maybe.
Mark Price,
I don't know who that is.
I think I remember him from. It says he was on the Cavs. I think I remember him from like playing the throwback 2K games. Maurice Cheeks.
Mo Cheeks.
Tony Kukoc, number 6.
Oh, that's
he was good like when he was playing with Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen.
Yeah, I mean he was on the floor.
Oh, Draymond. Okay, I mean that's a good second rounder. That's some good value. A couple championships out of him.
Mm.
Jokic number 4. Okay, sounds like we're gonna get to some good ones then. I feel like Isaiah Thomas should be on this list somewhere. If he's not, I think he was second round. Jeff Hornacek.
Okay, why is he above Jokic?
Yeah, Jokic is like one of the best ever when he's done. Marc Gasol.
Okay, Marc Gasol's good.
That's better than Jokic though. It's not. This is Bleacher Report, so they have terrible lists.
Yeah.
And Manu Ginobili. I mean, right? If I'm making a list today, okay, I could see you putting Manu number 1. Like he was unstoppable, and it was like, I don't know. It was before everyone started like picking Europeans and being like, wow, they're really good at basketball. And so Pop got him in like the 2002 draft. So yeah.
Yeah. I get that like you gotta value like overall careers and everything, but Jokic has won an MVP. Like there are what, maybe 60 MVPs in NBA history. Like he's the best second.
None of those guys were ever top 5 in the league. I mean, I can't speak for like maybe Hornacek, but I don't think he was ever like. No. But he was picked in the 90s, so like nah, he wasn't, because like we got Magic, MJ, Charles Barkley, all those guys.
I'm pretty sure Hornacek was on the Jazz with like Stockton and Malone, so he was like a third option on his team.
Okay. Well, yeah. So Jokic is the best all-time second rounder, except for this 2025 second rounder that the Thunder are about to pick, bro. Yeah, they traded him, so the Rockets are about to pick.
Oh wait, the Thunder traded the pick?
Yeah, they traded Favors and the pick, bro.
Oh, I thought the Thunder got that. I just always
they're trying to quit, bro.
Yeah.
They're trying to tank it out. So the Thunder low-key won that trade because they're gonna probably get a better draft pick than the Rockets now. Maybe that's who really won.
Yeah, they were like, get Derek Favors off the team. He might do something.
Yeah. All right. Next, I just saw this news stuff about Ayton. I looked a little bit into it. Ayton hasn't talked to Monty Williams since the last game of the season last year. I don't think that like that by itself doesn't like, maybe sometimes you would talk to your coach, but like it's off season and like you don't actually have practices or anything. Like, all right, maybe Monty doesn't talk to his players a lot. Maybe DeAndre Ayton likes to keep to himself. I don't know. But then I looked at like the interview and they also said, so like, DeAndre, are you happy to be here? And he said, I'm here. So that made me think things are not going so well in Phoenix. He also like wanted a trade, or they wanted to trade him like the whole year. Do you remember which one was it? They wanted to trade him or he wanted a trade earlier?
So he wanted to stay, but he thinks he's worth a max.
Oh yeah.
They didn't. So then he was like, all right, I mean, if you're not going to pay me, I guess trade me. And then they wouldn't accept anything that people were offering.
Okay. So there's that with Ayton and Monty Williams not getting along. Chris Paul is getting another year older, meaning another injury coming this year. Hopefully he can play in the playoffs. So Booker should be getting better, so that's good. But the Sarver issue with like your owner, and I don't know how deep it goes in the organization because I'm sure he did a lot of hiring, and you never know. Like that's just never good for an organization to have a scandal like that. So I think the Suns are, if they make the playoffs, they're gonna slide in at the 8th, which is crazy because they were number 1, I think, this year.
Okay. Wow, you're predicting a huge.
I think Chris Paul is like not it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I also want to talk about Chris Paul, but what do you think about the Suns?
Like I get that big men as a whole aren't as valuable as they were like 10 years ago, but Aiton's a very good player. Like he's a good player, and on that team, I think he's actually really important. So, like if you're the Suns, I feel like you should have paid him. Like you just should have given him a max immediately. You should have kept him happy. And like not hearing from your coach, like I don't know. I mean, I didn't play sports in like, iPhone group chat era of the world. So like I assume that most teams will probably, especially basketball teams, because there are only 15 players really. And like in the off season, you only know that like 8 players are really going to be on the team. So like I assume that most teams head coach probably have a group chat with their players where they're just like, like, hey, how's everyone doing? Like, hope you all good, like keep in shape, like maybe, watch some of this film. I assume every coach probably has something like that. And it seems like Ayton wasn't a part of that. Either he wasn't included in it or the head coach, who's the Suns head coach? Is
Monty Williams.
Or he just didn't do that. And I think both of those things are probably kind of red flags. Like, because I mean, everyone's in like 5 group chats. And if you're a professional athlete, like you got to be in a group chat with your teammates, or at least like, in basketball, all your teammates, but in other sports, like with at least your group of guys, like offensive linemen or whatever. Like, I feel like that's a pretty big red flag.
Yeah. I definitely think so too. Speaking of Chris Paul from earlier, I was thinking about it. He was on the Clippers when they had the really racist Donald Sterling. Donald, is that his name? Donald Donald Sterling? I don't know. The guy that was just like very openly racist that everyone forced him to sell his team or whatever, step down. So Chris Paul was dealing with that, and then he went and played on the Rockets, which just like have a really bad leadership in general. They have for a while, and now he's on. Did he go anywhere? He was on the Thunder. He actually did really well on the Thunder.
Yeah.
He did way better than everyone else expected on the Thunder, but still was never. It was like not in a good situation at all. Like he didn't have help like he needed to compete in today's NBA. And now he's on the Suns, and they finally like have something, but then his counterpart just vanishes in the playoffs in big games, Devin Booker. And now the owner's racist again. He's like, bro, can I just give me one season of health? Like if he was healthy on that Rockets team, they would have been playing against LeBron in the 2018 finals. But
like if Stern never vetoes that trade to the Lakers in like 2007 or something.
Yeah.
Like Chris Paul is probably top 3 point guards all time. Like he probably wins 2 championships. I don't think he wins a finals MVP because Kobe was there, but like he probably wins 2 or 3 championships, probably gets a couple all NBA first teams. Like he's probably top 3 point guards of all time, but he has had such an unlucky career. Like he's had such bad luck, but like it's also injury luck for him. He always gets injured in the playoffs, like just every single time he's hurt in the playoffs, and like he just can't catch a break.
Yeah, like if you remember, they were playing against the Warriors in 2018, and they were up 3-2, and Chris Paul was playing out of his mind, and he hurt his groin on that third victory, and so then they lost the next game. He didn't come back, or maybe he tried to end up playing Game 7 and couldn't. And they lost by like 2 in Game 7, and Trevor Ariza went 0 for 10 from 3-point land. And I
Yeah.
was like, bro. And then the next series was when JR famously didn't lay up the ball, and it forced overtime. And I was like, bro, LeBron's career legacy is completely changed. Like, because I think that LeBron and them would have beat, like, that year, I think they would have beat Chris Paul and James Harden. But
Yeah.
LeBron's legacy's completely changed because of Chris Paul's groin, bro.
Yeah. And I think like the NBA is so different than other sports because like really like the top 3 guys, if you have them, you can win a championship in a year. But everyone like from 3 to like 15, they're all super great players. But unless they're in a great situation, there's just no chance. Like
Yeah,
they're not
literally.
gonna win a championship. So it's like Chris Paul has always been in that like, 4 to 15th best in the league and just never got lucky. Like he just never
Yeah.
got lucky.
Like Chris Paul, like I think DeMar DeRozan is amazing, and like he'd be a number 2 on like a LeBron type team or like a KD type team, but he could never carry a team to a championship.
Yeah.
He
Yeah.
could be an intricate part of a championship, but he could never be like carry a team to a championship. But yeah, I see what you're saying. Like if there's like the guys like Jokic, Giannis, Joel, LeBron, Steph, like those are the guys that like have proven they can carry teams. I mean, Joel hasn't really proven it, but we just kind of know he can.
Yeah, like Joel's he's just injured too much. Like if he can be healthy for an entire year, I would love to see what happens. But he like even this year, was it his finger or something? Like something was wrong and he wasn't 100% in the playoffs. And it's just like that every
I
year
think
for
he
him.
broke his face.
Oh, was it his face? Did he break his face?
Maybe that was like the year before. I don't know. It's hard to keep up with all. He's actually someone that doesn't have recurring injuries. He like breaks his face, then hurts his back, then hurts his finger, then like
Yeah.
rolls his ankle. And I'm like, bro,
Like he like it's not like oh he weakened this part of his body
like
now.
Steph used to have really bad ankles, and Steph's ankle braces are like thick, and so now his
Yeah.
ankles are fine. But like he would always injure the same thing. Joel just every body part is like at 50%.
Yeah. And I didn't say this earlier, but you said like Devin Booker is gonna get better. Like I saw something on Twitter. They were like, Devin Booker's like 27 years old now. When are we gonna stop calling him a future superstar?
Oh wow.
Like this guy has been like, oh, he's about to be it for so long. I think he's 26, maybe.
He's 25. He's turning 26
Oh,
and like right before Halloween though.
okay. Yeah, like Devin Booker, like I think he's probably like top 2 shooting guards in the league. Like there really aren't that many great shooting
Yeah, like
guards right
who's
now.
better than him? Like going into this season, not potential wise.
Like
Like
I don't
Beal,
know.
we have Beal and we have DeRozan. Like those are the only two. And I guess someone might argue Levine if they're a Bulls fan, but he's really not on
Yeah.
their level.
Yeah, like I think those are the only like 3, 4.
Brown, Tatum's like a 3-4.
Yeah. I guess
Jalen
Jalen Brown
Brown.
maybe, but like I think Anthony Edwards is the only like
Oh
up.
yeah, I would take Anthony Edwards probably.
I honestly
But
I
I
would take
think
Anthony over
what?
all. I would take Anthony Edwards over any of those guys. I think Anthony Edwards is like so good. And I think it's beyond like obviously he's a great player, but I think his mentality is like something you can't like you just have to have. You can't learn it or coach it. Like he has the mentality of like an all-time great player.
What is Zion?
I don't know actually. Is
Because
he
he
a,
plays like such a wing, I feel like.
like
Because they want
all
him to slash. Because like
yeah.
he's like a freaking Pokemon card, like times 100 effectiveness if he gets to take 2 steps.
Yeah. But the thing is like I guess he's a 4. I don't know because like he gets all his points in the paint and he gets a ton of offensive rebounds.
Yeah.
So I guess he's a 4, but like he'll be on the perimeter on the offense most of the time. And does he play interior defense? I actually don't even remember. I haven't seen him play in so long.
I don't remember.
Yeah. I think he's probably a 4. Like, honestly, you could probably just put him at the 5 and it'd be fine. Like, I feel like Zion could kind of play any position. Like, he's actually a positionless guy.
Yeah. I think so too. He's really diverse in that way, but his I feel like he's gonna be a 3-4 on like fantasy and on rosters and stuff. Oh yeah, I want to talk about Zion in general. So like I saw a picture slash video of him looking like a little bit thinner. Like you can see his muscles now, not just like arm, not just like thick arm.
Yeah.
I'm happy for him for that. I think the Pelicans can be very good in a couple years if they can one keep these guys and then two keep them healthy, which is hard because they have Brandon Ingram, who's one of the most injured players ever, and then they have Zion Williamson, who is like statistically maybe the most injured player ever, like other than Greg Oden. So like if they can keep those guys and keep them healthy, like they actually might be very good too. Who did they get for
McCollum.
they have McCollum, yeah. So McCollum's really good too. I mean, I have mixed feelings about. I just wish McCollum would get in better shape. I see pictures of him and he looks like so chubby. I'm like, bro, if you're gonna be a shooting guard, just get in good shape. It's not hard. It's your job. You could get in really good shape. You could finish at the rim better. You don't have to rely on just shooting. That kind of annoys me about McCollum. He's always hidden behind it because him and Dame would just take like 33s a game. I don't know. He kind of needs to be more efficient, in my opinion, especially as he's getting older.
Yeah, I saw a picture of him like recently, and it looks worse than last.
Was it the one of him looking at Zion, them looking at each
Yeah,
other? Yeah, I saw that too. Yeah, he looks. Yeah, that I was like, now Zion's gonna have to help him lose weight. What's going on?
yeah. Like I guess in New Orleans, they got some buffets or something down
Oh my
there.
God, the
Those guys could not control themselves. Like, yeah, CJ is obviously a great player, but I like you, James Harden was dealing with this, and you could tell James Harden lost a step this year. Like it was so obvious. And now he says I saw something James Harden said he lost like 30 pounds or something. So James Harden might come back a little quicker this season, but CJ McCollum is probably going to deal with like the step loss that we saw James Harden deal with this past year.
I like the Sixers a lot this year. They got
I
rid of
think,
Toxic Simmons. I just don't like Doc Rivers still, but they got rid of Toxic Simmons and then Harden. The fact that everyone hated Harden and he sort of proved everyone wrong in terms of his likability. Like he gave up like $10 million in his contract. I mean, it's going to extend and he's going to get paid in the long run, but I mean, I like that he did that and maybe losing weight. And I mean, it all circles around Embiid now. So, like, everything else is good right now. If they could just get Embiid to, not get hurt.
I think Harden's like he's one of the few NBA players that realizes like he's not the guy anymore. Like Russ can't deal with it. Carmelo couldn't deal with it for a long time. Like KD, I think
Yeah,
is
the
gonna have a
superstars can't deal with it very well
yeah,
normally. It's the role players that are like, okay, now I'm transitioning to this.
yeah,
Not the primary ball handlers. They have a hard time.
yeah. James Harden, he's like, I think he's one of the few players that's like realistic with himself. He's like, I'm getting older and I need to take more of a backseat to Embiid. I think he took a little bit too much of a backseat. Like he kind of stopped trying to score altogether, which I think was a mistake. But I think that's also a symptom of him playing with Katie and Kyrie for a little while. So I think this year Harden's going to come back and be a lot better than he was last year.
Yeah, I think so too. I also think he should like it's probably fun, but like maybe don't hang out with Lil Baby and Gunna as much. Just like a little bit less. At least post about it a little bit less.
Bro, like it's starting to get a little like I see it and I'm like, do you have a crush on Lil Baby or something? Like, what's
You
going
saw
on?
he gave him 200. Baby gave him 250,000 for like a birthday or something. I was like,
Yeah.
I think that is like money laundering. Like
Yeah.
he's trying to get rid of
Like
money.
I don't know what's going on there, but it's like I'm not saying like obviously you and me are friends. I'm like me and your older brother have been we've all been like our friend group has been friends for forever, but like I feel like James Harden and Lil Baby have like a weird friendship almost. It's almost
Yeah.
like a it seems like a publicity stunt sometimes. It's just kind of weird.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm trying to think. Why do they? Because Baby's like an Atlanta rapper. Yeah, I just don't know why like they became best friends at all. I think they just both like going to the club a lot is the only thing I can think of. But like, do they just go to the club whenever Harden was like in town twice a year to go in Atlanta, or just every summer they're together? I don't know. It's weird. But Harden's always been someone that parties a lot. Like one of my college teammates used to go like he was high school friends with Julius Randle, and so they would always go. Julius Randle would take him and like five other friends from high school like on these crazy vacations once a year, like in the summer. And so he took him, and they were at some crazy club, and my roommate was telling me about it the next like season we were playing together, and that he was like, yeah, we literally spent like a week clubbing with James Harden, and I was like, that's the coolest thing I think I've ever heard.
Bro, you know James Harden knows the spots. That dude
Yeah,
is
and that was right around the time when Harden was getting chunky, and I'm like, no wonder he's getting chunky, bro. He's out every night in the off season.
Yeah, like that's really that sounds awesome though. Going on vacations with like NBA players, they're probably blowing bags every night.
My god, so much money, I'm sure.
Did you see the Trey Lance thing before he got injured? How like he had a game and then he was seen at the strip club that night. Like they lost and he was seen at the strip club that night. And then someone like looked at the video, like the time they posted the video, and he was at the strip club like an hour and a half after the game ended.
The
Like he
strip
literally
club?
yeah, the strip club. He literally went to the locker room, showered, like straight strip club. I was like, damn, bro, like give it a little time. Like I know we all deal with things in our own ways, but like you got cameras on.
Wait, when was that?
This is like after week 1. So it was
Oh,
like 2 weeks ago.
oh my gosh. So I thought you were saying like end of the season, like in
No, this is
college.
this was like 3 weeks ago.
Gosh. Didn't Jimmy or he got hurt, right? How hurt is Trey Lance?
He's out for season. I think he like tore his ACL or something.
Oh damn.
Yeah.
Did you see? We won't talk about football after this because we have a little more basketball. But did you see Coward's like hot take about it? He was like, "Oh, like Trey Lance out with ACL," and he was like, "Oh, best thing that could have happened to the 49ers or something like that." And everyone was like, "That's just like get your take off. Say Jimmy G's better, but like don't say it's a good thing that happened."
Yeah, like I hate when people like root for injuries like that. Like
Yeah,
it's just like, and we don't even like Trey Lance might be better than Jimmy
yeah.
Garoppolo. The first game he played, it was like a monsoon. They were in like a hurricane playing. They couldn't throw the ball. So like we didn't even get to really see him play his first game. So I mean he might be better than Jimmy G. I mean, Jimmy G, like last week, we saw him just step out of the end zone just for nothing. So like
Bro,
I don't think Jimmy G's that good.
I saw someone that was like, "Wow, what a brilliant civil rights movement!" Like he stepped on because the box that was out
Oh,
of bounds said racism. And he's like, he's stepping on racism. Like I respect it. I stand with Jimmy G or something.
low key, he's a social activist icon. Jimmy G
Yes.
out there.
Um. But all right, I want to move on to embrace debate. I thought about this, and I kind of want to hear your opinion on it. Who would you take as your guy on the team? If you got one season, you got current Kawhi Leonard, so whoever Kawhi is going to be this coming season, or prime PG-13. So that's probably like Pacers Paul George when he like before he like broke all of his legs and stuff.
That's hard because I'd take Kawhi Leonard in pretty much any other instance, but I like I think if PG never snapped his leg, I think he wins. I think he steals a championship from LeBron. Like that one series when he was in Indiana, like when him and Braun were going head to head, that was one of the greatest like duels I've seen. Paul Jordan was crazy, and he was like 23. Like I was like, man, this guy is real. And the
Yeah.
next season just snapped.
The
So
same
like,
thing happened with Derrick Rose too. Like Derrick
yeah,
Rose, those were two guys that were going back and forth. Like everyone still thought LeBron was better, but people were going, these guys could pass him. These guys could pass him. And
Yeah.
then they both ended up just injury-ridden careers.
Yeah. Like, I think Paul George was so good. And he's like, he came back and still was great. Like, he's been in MVP voting a couple different seasons. Like, he's an amazing player. But, like, I got to choose Kawhi here. Kawhi is that dude. He is like, Anthony Edwards brings a mentality that you can't teach. And Kawhi Leonard brings like I don't even know what to call it. It's like an intensity, but at the same time, like just an almost an intimidation factor that you can't teach. Like I just remember like that one series LeBron was playing against the Spurs, and it was like a 21-year-old Kawhi. And Kawhi checks into the game. LeBron looks over and he's like, oh God.
Yeah.
It's like
He was like, oh, damn.
yeah, it's like Kawhi is like people don't want to play against that guy. Like he is so good, but he'll sit out entire seasons just because he's like, I don't feel like I'm ready. Like he's the opposite of most NBA players' mentalities in terms of like health. Like most players will be like, I'm gonna try to play through this. Kawhi's like, nah, I'm just gonna wait till next
Yeah. I
year.
saw someone saying that Kawhi Leonard's like, when he retires, we'll never hear from him again. I actually think he's gonna be like one of the TNT guys when he retires. I could, because he's already got, I've seen tweets about it, he's already got uncle energy where he just like cracks a little joke and laughs and has fun. I think he would like talking about basketball to people when people aren't like, because he's one of the guys that sees through media and sees how fake it is, but like doesn't want to be like an activist about it. He just hates them because of it. But I think he would like to ask players questions and just talk about the game in general when they're not like, when he doesn't feel like pressured, like everyone wants to hear what he's doing or what their team's doing to win a championship. I think he would enjoy that.
Yeah, like I get what you mean. Like I feel like Kawhi is almost so like focused that he doesn't even want to talk about it. Like he doesn't want to be like a celebrity really, but he'd like being like an aide to like he likes basketball too much about anything else. But once he's done playing, he'll be like, oh, I want to be around basketball, so I want to talk to the guys that are still there. But like I don't know if he'd be like it on TNT. I feel like I don't know. I've never seen him talk. Like I don't know if you saw it, but Serge Ibaka when he was on the Raptors, he had like a cooking show, and he brought Kawhi on it one time, and Kawhi didn't even talk on the cooking show. Like Kawhi just doesn't talk, and maybe like once he retires, it'll change. But like that guy just doesn't speak.
Bro, we could have an episode where we just like have a picture of Kawhi in the Discord call, and we just say he was on it. Be like, yeah, he just didn't speak, but he was this episode was featuring Kawhi Leonard.
Honestly, people would probably believe it. They'd be like, "Oh man, Kawhi, did he raise his eyebrow there? We can't even tell."
Just every now and again, just plug his laugh when we say something funny. But yeah, I think I'm taking PG-13 on that debate though, just because I just think about the dunks he used to have, and I know Kawhi can't do that. And then I just think, I mean, he can't do that. He can still dunk on people and stuff, but like the dunks that PG-13 used to have were like ridiculous.
Yeah.
He had one. I'm trying to remember who it was on. He blew past LeBron. I don't remember if LeBron had like Mozgov or I think it was before that. It might have been Verajao. And he just like flew up and just baptized him and just stood there like with both arms out, like flexing. And I was just like, oh my goodness, that is. Because at that time, I was in my prime of defending LeBron and like taking everything personal. If someone says like, Paul George is getting up there. So I was like a Paul George hater, like Paul George non-believer. But obviously I can recognize he was insane. I would take Paul George over current Kawhi, but obviously prime Kawhi is going to be better than Paul George, though.
Kawhi. The thing about Kawhi is Kawhi like he's athletic, but he isn't really athletic. Like he's not very fast. He doesn't jump very high.
I think he jumps really strong. Like you're not deterring his path.
Like it's weird because he's not like quick, but he can get by people, and he can't jump high, but he jumps kind of fast. Like he has a quick takeoff. Like Kawhi's such a weird athletic profile because he's like like he's really strong. That's one
Yeah.
thing, but like he's not that fast or quick or can jump high, but he does the things that fast, quick, and high jumping players do. It's just
Yeah.
weird to watch him play.
Well, I'm looking. These guys are only 1 year apart.
Kawhi and Paul George.
Kawhi is 31.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wait, he's younger than Paul George. What the heck? I definitely
Yeah, I
thought
mean,
Paul George was younger than him for some reason. I thought Kawhi was like 34.
yeah, Kawhi he acts old. He
Yeah,
plays old too.
maybe that's it. Like Kawhi, he turned 31 in June too. So he's gonna be 31 this whole season.
Yeah,
So
like he
apparently, scientifically, the male prime of athleticism and like the best that a male could be is 33. That doesn't necessarily just mean jumping, which is what people think
yeah.
of as athleticism. It just means like everything combined. So like maybe Kawhi's season's still best season's still ahead of him.
I mean, he takes care of his body. Like where CJ is like just taking time off or whatever, Kawhi is like he is a very hard worker. So I wouldn't be like even through his injuries, I wouldn't be surprised if Kawhi is like a top tier player till he's like 35.
I respect it. Let's move on to Yeet Culture. Yeet Culture is a segment where we effectively cancel a person or thing because one single thing that recently happened. We yeet them. So I have two people on the chopping block today to be yeeted. One is Udonis Haslem and one is Andre Iguodala, two OGs in the NBA. And you might be saying, why would you hate on these two guys? They both keep quiet in the media and they both, do their job on the court. Well, one, Udonis doesn't play basketball. He watches basketball. I respect him for grinding for like 20 years or something and somehow finessing another paycheck from the Heat. Seems like they would pay him as long as he wants. And I respect Iggy for the same thing with the Warriors. But these guys announced their retirement before the season started. That is an L move. I hate when players do that, except for when Kobe did it because people actually care about Kobe. But when they did it, they're pretty much asking all the teams that they've had memories against or that they've played for in the past. I don't think Udonis has only been on the Heat though, I think, right?
I think so. I don't know actually. I think he might have went to another team for like a year or two, but he's been on the Heat for like
Yeah.
if he's in the league 20 years, it's been like 18 years on the
Well,
Heat.
they're asking for when it's my last game at the Bucks are going to say we love you, Udonis, and etc. And same with Iggy and all that stuff. And I just don't like it. I think if you're gonna announce your retirement, announce it like 2 weeks before, maybe a week before the end of the season, not to start the season so you have an entire farewell tour. Coach K did the same thing, and no one in the universe respects Coach K. So I just wanted to say we got to eat these two. Every time someone posts about, this Iggy's last time shooting a three on the 76ers floor, I don't want to hear it. I really do not want to hear it. Bye-bye, Iggy and Udonis.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I definitely would not put Kobe in that. Like Kobe, especially because he was coming off the Achilles. Like Kobe deserved a farewell tour. Like these guys don't. They
Yeah.
don't. Like I get Iguodala. He has a Finals MVP. Like he's had a great career, but like just retire at the end of the season. Like just wait.
Like no one knew when Timmy D's last year was going to be. Same with Dirk. I remember when Dirk they were like only a couple of games left and they weren't going to make the playoffs, I think, or something. Or maybe they were like about to lose in the playoffs. They were like, so like, have you thought about this being like your last game in the Mavs arena? And he's like, I didn't say I was retiring. You guys think I should retire? Obviously, Dirk, like by the time he was like, everyone was like, bro, I can't believe he's still out there. So it's really funny, but like, I respect that. Like, you're not announcing you're retired. That it's not about you. There's still like 15 other guys on the team that are fighting to stay on a roster and all that stuff. I think it's about that. I just don't like when guys kind of make it about them by announcing a retirement for the whole season.
Yeah. I think like if you are gonna announce a retirement, you gotta be like it's gotta be deserved. Like if Dirk did it, I would have been fine. Like if LeBron does it, that's fine. If like I'll hate on KD for doing it just because I'm a KD hater. But if Kawhi did it, I would respect it. Like I would respect like the top tier guys who have been there for forever. But like Iguodala and Haslam, like
Yeah.
nah.
And even more about Haslam is like he's not even playing. So it's not like he's doing a last year. It's like he's literally just staying on the roster to have a retirement tour to get an extra like 2 million or whatever he's getting paid.
Yeah,
Like he's not
like,
it's not like he's not like I'm grinding out one more year. He's just going to be at practice each day.
yeah, like he probably doesn't even practice anymore. He's probably like, oh yeah, that was a nice play, hero. Let's go. Like that's it.
And the thing is, the guys on the Heat love him. He's obviously like such a nice dude and super encouraging and like a great role model for the young players. But I can't take this.
Yeah.
But anyway, let's move to fantasy land. This segment is our time to update y'all on fantasy football, NFL news, and Commander talk. Shout out the hashtag Washington Commanders. Haha. The Commanders play the Cowboys this week. BVS. How do you feel about this matchup? The Cowboys are currently a 3-point favorite on most sports books.
So I am afraid of the Cowboys pass rush because Carson Wentz refuses to throw the ball.
Oh, God. I didn't even think about their pass rush, bro. They got Micah Parsons. We're done.
So good. And Lawrence, is his name DeMarcus Lawrence? Something Lawrence. That guy is really, really good too. Like it's scary.
Trevor
but,
Lawrence.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence. But like I think we have a chance this week because I don't think like Cooper Rush has won 2 games. I don't believe in Cooper Rush. I think Zeke's washed up. I think CD Lamb drops a bunch of passes. Their offensive line isn't that good. It's just going to be like a defensive battle. I feel like this game's going to end like 17-14 and like it's going to be like the team that wins gets a field goal in the 3rd quarter and no one scores in the 4th. I feel like it's going to be something like that.
Or like or look for like missed extra points to play a big role in this one for some reason, because I think let's see, it's at the Cowboys, so I guess it won't be raining, but if it was here it's just going to be like a really wet field, and FedEx Field is already just not kept well, so
Yeah.
I would say, but I guess not in this case.
Yeah, I feel like I think I don't know. I just hope that it's competitive, and I honestly think the Redskins, or excuse me, the Commanders can win this. We gotta edit that one out. We got
The R words.
I slip them so much because like
It doesn't actually matter. Like no one actually cares as long as you're not like actually just saying it every time. Like people say it on accident.
like my girlfriend, obviously I was dating her. I've been with her for 4 years, so I was dating her before they were the Commanders, and she still knows them as the other name. So like I just say that to her sometimes, and I'm like, now the Commanders
Behind closed doors when no one's
Yeah.
listening.
I'm like, they were this team, now they're the Commanders. She's like, okay. She's not even listening really. It's
Bro, you
football
could
stuff.
just tell her that the Commanders were playing against the R words, and she would be like, "Oh, okay,
She
cool."
probably would be. She'd be like, "Oh, do you like the Commanders?" I'd be like, "Maybe."
So the over under is 41.5. You're predicting a huge under for that.
41.
I mean that's just like 21 to 22, and it would be the over.
I guess. I'd take the under on that honestly, but I'm always wrong on over unders. But
Yeah.
I mean, this is gonna come out after the game anyway. But don't trust me on.
Yeah, like I think about how many offensive absolute units and threats we have. Antonio Gibson, McKissick's a really good receiving back.
Yeah.
And then Logan Thomas is just a straight up great tight end that we don't use much at all. Curtis Samuel has been insane. Terry McLaurin is insane, hasn't had much of a role yet this year. And then Jahan Dotson is actually great too. Like he's a very good receiver. But like Carson Wentz, I don't know if they're not open. I haven't looked at the tapes, but what's not an option is to stand there. Like the first play Teddy Bridgewater came in for Tua, I was like, all right, Teddy's like not that mobile of a quarterback. He's kind of going to get bullied out there. He sits in the pocket for like 1.52 seconds, and then he rolls out and throws a pass. I'm like, is Carson Wentz watching the game? Because Carson Wentz goes 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, and that's pretty much your time frame in the NFL. Unless you're like Tom Brady and you just get the best lineman ever, that's your time frame.
Yeah.
And Carson Wentz doesn't feel it at all. He goes, "Oh, maybe I'll just step up a little." No, it's not going to happen. Our linemen can't. They're just going to get holds, or you're going to get sacked. And it happened. We're the most sacked team like ever, I think, right now.
Yeah, like Joe Burrow got sacked like 13 times for the first 2 games, and then the last 2 games he's got sacked a total of like 3 times. So they fixed it. But Carson Wentz, this guy, like Ant sent a video of Carson Wentz highlights in the group chat from like his MVP season before he tore his ACL, and he was mobile, like he was avoiding sacks, he was like ducking under things, he was spinning out of plays. I was like, oh my god. But I
Yeah,
was
I
like,
saw that.
maybe, yeah, and I was thinking like maybe he's having a Russell Westbrook thing where he doesn't realize how much athleticism he's lost just because of his injuries, and he's like he still thinks he can make those plays. I don't know, but when I watch, it seems like he doesn't have that internal clock. Like he doesn't know when he needs to like start noticing people are near him.
Yeah, and I had Dak, our friend, is a Colts fan, and he was like, "I'm so sorry you guys are having to deal with Carson Wentz." And I'm like, "Don't say that. He's gonna be good." And it's so sad to me that the Eagles had Carson Wentz and like went to the Super Bowl and won a Super Bowl with, I mean, Nick Foles ended up winning it, but Carson Wentz got them there. And since then they've lost him. He's cycled around the NFL. The Eagles have already gotten another amazing quarterback, and we're just still here. And now we just have their garbage Carson Wentz and that's just bad now. And I'm like, this is so sad.
Like the Eagles literally they had Carson Wentz, who was an MVP candidate, and then he got injured in the playoffs, or I think it was like the last game of this regular season or something. And then Nick Foles comes in and wins them a Super Bowl. And then they get rid of Carson Wentz. Nick Foles is there. He's not the guy. And then they draft Jalen Hurts, and now he's the guy. Like, what are we doing wrong?
They're like, oh, our quarterback isn't that good. We'll just draft like a good quarterback. Yeah, let's do that.
like, why can't we do that? They went through 3 like Super Bowl caliber pretty much quarterbacks in the past decade, and we haven't had one in
Bro,
like
Sam
20
Howell.
years.
Trust Sam Howell. Once Carson
Maybe.
Wentz, I don't want him to get injured. I don't want anyone to get injured. But if he keeps getting sacked this often, he's probably going to get injured because it
Yeah.
takes a toll.
Yeah.
Sam Howell, bro. We stole him in like the 5th round or something. Just wait on it.
I hope he's good. I was hoping we would like I still think is his name Malik? It's something Willis. I think it's Malik Willis.
Yeah.
Whoever is behind Tannehill. That guy, I think he's really good. And he was like a 3rd round pick. I only saw preseason highlights of him. I'm framing that off of, but like he was making throws and I was like, oh man. Maybe I was hoping that the Commanders would like trade for some young quarterback that had like a mid first 2 seasons, like Trey Lance, or I don't think Trevor Lawrence was actually available to be traded,
Yeah.
but I was like, maybe we'll trade for him or something. But nah, we traded for Carson Wentz. So
Trevor Lawrence is the most like not that good of NFL quarterback that I've ever seen that everyone's like, no, but like he's got it though. I'm like, well, all right, I'm not saying he doesn't, but like why is it different with him when other quarterbacks play bad, they're terrible, but Trevor Lawrence are like, nah, he's getting there. I'm like, is he? I don't know. I mean, I like feel the same way too though. I'm like, he's so tall and athletic and can throw so well, but like he throws 4 interceptions sometimes and no touchdowns.
Trevor Lawrence is like it's like people were talking about Justin Herbert like 2 years ago. Like the thing is Trevor Lawrence had what's his name? Urban Meyer though. And Urban Meyer I think will go down as the worst coach in NFL history. Like how much better the Jaguars are now compared to last year is just like not even comparable.
He couldn't keep his fingers out of anything.
He really could. Cookie jars, different types of players' business,
People.
So, like Urban Meyer was terrible, but like Trevor Lawrence played really bad last year too, and I was like, man, maybe this guy isn't good. But the thing is, like, he was rated like so high coming out of college. I feel like people just can't give up on him that quickly. Like a lot of these other quarterbacks, like Trey Lance and Justin Fields, they were like rated kind of high, and then they like shoot up draft boards because everyone needs a quarterback. Like Trevor Lawrence from like his senior year of high school, everyone was like, this guy. He was like
Well,
Andrew Luck.
I'm pretty sure he never lost a game in high school, and then he lost like once for Clemson.
Yeah,
And that's great, and that like you have to be a good quarterback if that happens, like or you had to be good on those teams. But also he was definitely on the best teams in every league he's ever been in. So like he had the great offensive lines, he had the great receivers, the great running backs, the great defenses to help win games. And so that's easy to play. I'm not easy, but like it makes it way easier. Now like in the NFL, you don't have like barely any team has a great offensive line, great receivers, and great defense. Like that doesn't really happen. Like if that happens, you'll probably win the Super Bowl, but you're not going to have that on the Jaguars anytime soon. Like
yeah.
they're solid right now, but they're not. They don't have elite any of those.
Yeah. Like I think I saw a clip of Trevor Lawrence, like he was coming out of the locker room and he was talking to his teammates, and it was like the most bland, like hype up speech I've ever seen. He literally was like, all right, guys, we gotta go out there and we gotta do what we gotta do. We gotta play football like we know we can. All right, all three. And was this a hype speech? Like, what was this?
Have you seen Kirk Cousins' hype speeches? Everyone he gets clowned for them all the time. It's just like I think it's the way he talks. He's like, "Come on, guys, we can do this," and they're like, "Yeah." God, this sounds like a middle schooler motivating. We're gonna go out there and we're gonna kick some tail. Like, all right, Kirk. All right.
Like I think that's something that like Trevor Lawrence just doesn't have. Like he
Yeah.
doesn't have like the like inspirational factor. Like I think Trevor Lawrence and Jameis Winston are opposite ends of the spectrum, where Trevor Lawrence has like no inspiration factor, but has like all the talent, and Jameis Winston has like none of the talent, but all the inspiration. Like I love Jameis Winston.
Bro, if they got those two together and they had Jameis as Trevor's backup, bro, and Jameis would just hype everyone up and like be like, Trevor, you got this. I think the reason Trevor doesn't have that is because he's always expected to win. So he hasn't been like, dang, we like had a down season. Like I literally think that has, if he actually isn't like motivational or like a good locker room presence, which is important, because he's never been in a situation before, and everyone else has lost big games and been hurt and come back the next season. Maybe he just needs to go through some bad seasons and he will be good. But now I sound like the people that I don't understand that are just giving him a million chances. So I don't know.
Well, I mean, he's been playing pretty well this season. Like last
Okay.
week, he threw 3 touchdowns and had like
Oh.
300 yards or something. But one of the things, speaking of touchdowns and 300 yards, I saw on one of the lines for Josh Allen, or yeah, that's his name. I thought it wasn't Josh Allen for a second. Bills quarterback, Josh Allen. He had like a 290 over under passing yards, and he's playing against the Ravens this week, who are the worst passing defense in the league this year. Like, and I think Josh Allen's going to throw for 350, 400 yards. So this is coming out after the games, but I'm taking that line. So maybe
how much does he normally rush for?
He'll run for like 40, 50 yards a game.
Okay.
He runs like enough, but most of his rushes are like just if he needs to bail out a third down or goal line stuff.
Okay, let me look up his. Oh yeah, he had 300 against the Rams, 317 against the Titans, 400 against the Dolphins.
Yeah, like I think there's almost no way he gets under 290 because the Ravens' pass defense is not good this year, or at least they haven't been so far.
Bro, dang, I might have to see if like Stephon Diggs is like in the free agency or something.
Oh yeah, I think he might
be. Anyway, run us through these NFL topics you got if we hadn't touched on any of them.
All right, so the first one is one that you're familiar with too. Russell Wilson is losing his mind. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's the Denver altitude getting to him. Maybe his altitude sickness is getting to his head. Maybe Sierra's got like a really weird, like close circle of people that are just influencing him like oddly. But he had this Subway commercial come out, and it's like the most unsettling thing I've ever watched. He's sitting there and he's like eating the sandwich. He's like, the sandwich? Dangerous.
Bro, stop. You're actually good at it.
It's
Stop.
like- and the most unsettling thing about it to me, at least, was like, this is a Popeyes thing, don't have it, but like he was eating the sandwich and pretend the sandwich is sticking out of here. He didn't roll down the paper or anything. He just was like, and it was like right next to the paper. I was like, this is something a crazy person does. Like, who doesn't roll the paper down before they take a bite?
This guy
I've never
said.
seen anyone do that.
This guy said this is like he's got me tied up in a chair and he's gonna kill me, and he's like giving me a monologue before he murders me. You want a sandwich? Nah, it's dangerous.
There was one point where he was like, "Have you ever done something dangerous?" Ooh, that's dangerous. And I was like, what's going on? I was like, this is uncomfortable. Why is this happening? And then there was like another video that came out of him like showing suits that he was gonna wear to his like family. And it was so like he was videotaping. It was him and like a bunch of his family or friends. I don't know who it was, but he had his phone up and he was like, "All right, y'all, I'm gonna show y'all the suits that I'm gonna wear. I'm gonna show my family options. They're gonna say yes or no." And he's literally just holding up his phone, not showing the camera his phone or anything, just scrolling. His family's like, "No, no." They're like, "Yeah," and he's like, "Come on, you don't like that one?" It's like,
Yeah.
I was like, what image are you going for?
It's like on the screen, it just says what they're supposed to say. No, yeah, no. He had another one. I think it was recent too, where he just kept saying, "I'm introducing myself." He's like, "Hi, it's Robot Russell here. I'm just introducing myself. Sometimes you gotta push through something, and when that happens, you guys are gonna meet Mr. Unlimited."
Wow.
He's like, and so that's me, Mr. Unlimited. Oh, you don't think you have any more else to give? Where you got to be unlimited? And I'm like, Russell, please stop. And he like has Sierra like playing in on it, like saying something. He's like, unlimited. And I'm like, I can't stand you. And you couldn't have been this weird your whole life. I think the future stuff maybe has messed with him. Like Stadium's playing Future when he like comes out to warm up and stuff, and then because obviously Future and him hate each other. Future is a complete d-bag to him, and Russell. I used to think Russell seems like a really nice just guy, but he might just be a psychopath. I don't know, because no one acts like this.
Yeah. Like you can tell there's something off. Like when you watch him, you're like, something's not right.
Yeah.
And it's just like, and everyone remembers the Broncos country. Let's ride.
Oh no! When that happened, I was like, okay, they were just telling him to say it, and then we took out all the effects and it looked weird. No, I've seen 3 videos that made me cringe the exact same way, but that was the worst one. Broncos country, that's right.
I was just like, I remember watching it. I was like, okay, these are the bad takes. Like he's gonna have a good one, and it just every time I was like, this is getting worse.
Bro, if you just played that like at every timeout when you're playing against the Broncos, they would lose. Like if they were playing at the Commanders and we just played that, it would get them. They'd be like, I hate the Broncos. Their whole team would like want to lose, I think.
And the worst part about all this is Russell Wilson does not play good this year so far. So I don't know if he's always been like this or this is something new, but like it is not good. Something weird is going on, and I hope we find out eventually, because maybe like he's had too many concussions or something, and that's what's going on. But like, it's weird.
Also, their coach doesn't seem good, Nathaniel Hackett. I've been seeing a lot of stuff about him, and he's never coached. He's never been a head coach before. And I don't think he's ever coached the NFL, and he's just not good. Like he made like 3 different calls where he like after the game he came and he was like, yeah, that was my fault. And they're like, oh, like your job as the head coach is to be smarter than every other person in both organizations. Like that's what you should want to do. And it's like he's making rookie mistakes. Like you can't have your head coach making rookie mistakes.
Yeah, like I think a lot of teams are like looking for the next Sean McVay, essentially. They're like, we want some head coach that's never been a head coach before. And they're all hiring these like young guys that are like maybe know a lot of like random analytics stuff, but I don't think they're really going for like, I think they're just throwing darts out there.
Yeah, I think
they're
you're right.
They're going for real guys.
Next year I had Tua. That was such a just a depressing thing to watch. I didn't even know he got injured. I was watching a movie, and then I was like, oh, like I have Jalen Waddle in fantasy. Like, let's see how he's doing. So I flip over to the game, and I just see Bridgewater running onto the field, and I was like, oh no. Like
Yeah.
one, I hope two is okay, and two, oh god, I got Teddy Bridgewater throwing to Waddle now, and Waddle ended with like 5 points. But
Yeah.
I don't care about that. It's so sad about Tua, like the fact that the NFL or the Dolphins tried to diagnose his earlier concussion as a back injury.
Yeah.
People are saying, "Oh, Tua said it was his back that hurt." It's not Tua's job to do any of that. It's the doctor's job to go, "This guy's okay." And a lot of people will go, "Oh, well, hindsight's 2020." Like to say, "Well, no." In the moment, everyone was going, "He has a concussion." Like I remember the play where he stood up, tried to walk, and fell, and everyone's like, "Oh, he has a concussion. He shouldn't be in the game." And they just apparently didn't concussion test him. He didn't go through concussion protocols because they said he had a back injury, so he didn't have to. And then now this happens. Hopefully he can. He seems to be like he's recovering, but I mean, that's great. You can recover fully and play normally, but you're still at bigger risk next time you get hit in the head. Like you can play completely fine like you used to, but like if you get hit in the head or your head hits the ground again, it's even worse, and it's like exponentially worse each time you get another concussion. So like I don't know. What do you think about the whole situation?
Like obviously they shouldn't have let him. I think the part that makes it so bad, like yeah, they let him back in the game last week, and that's like you cannot trust players to say when they're okay, especially in the NFL. Like I feel like in the NBA it's becoming more like players are more okay with being like I can't play right now, I need to come out. But in the NFL, like it's such a next man up league. Like if the next guy comes in and he's good, like you don't get your job back. So it's like NFL players will almost never choose not to play if they're healthy. So you can't go out there and be like, "Oh, Tua, are you good?" He's like, "Yeah, I want to go back in." Of course, he's going to want to go back in. That's why you have the medical team and everyone helping you, making sure that this guy doesn't go back in when he's not ready. He shouldn't have went back in last week, and then like he played on Sunday, and then they just played a Thursday game, so we only had 4 days to recover, and he's recovering from a head injury. He should have not, definitely not played this week. So it was just like it was like the concussion was bad. The first concussion was bad. They should have kept him out. They didn't keep him out. And then they played on such a short week and didn't keep him out after the short week. It's like just purely bad player management by the Dolphins. Like, and I'm as a Commanders fan, lifelong Commanders fan, I'm used to this kind of stuff. Like we let RG3 come back too early. We tried to tell Trent Williams he didn't have cancer. Like this stuff, it happens in the league, but I thought it was pretty much exclusive to the Commanders for the longest time.
Yeah.
But I think it's just because I am here and I see it happen that I don't realize it happens to the other teams. And it seems like it's an NFL wide issue. Like it's just they need to be more concerned about the safety of these guys because it's like a lot of these guys come out of the league and they're just not okay. Like their head is not okay.
Agreed.
So I wish Tua a speedy recovery, but I hope that he doesn't try to play. Like, there's no way that they let him play next week. There's no way. Even if like he clears all the protocols, the Dolphins won't.
He's got to have at least 2 whole weeks off, in my opinion. And so this way he'll get 2.5 weeks at least because they play the third. Unless I don't think they play a Thursday again, but who knows? But I mean, I don't think I think 2 weeks. It used to be like a minimum if you have a concussion, but I think he needs longer than that because of the back to back. And like all the doctors that weighed in were like, getting a concussion, the reason you don't go out again is because another concussion right after that before you recover is 100 times worse than like just getting a second concussion in a month. This is way worse. Like it's damaged and then it's damaged like even more before the brain can recover. So hopefully he does better. He gets better.
Yeah, the first tackle I saw it and like he hit his head pretty hard, but the one this week he like his head didn't hit that hard, so that it affected him that bad for his head not to hit that hard is like a really bad sign. I feel like they need to do a lot more to try to figure out like if he should play at all this season anymore. So I mean, there was a hockey player, Sidney Crosby. He sat out for like a year because he had concussions. So I mean, I feel like they gotta take those precautions with Tua. but we wish him a speedy recovery. So, next topic, Tom Brady again. I think he's been in every week that we had NFL topic so far. But Tom Brady, he is playing it, he's on Tampa. They had Hurricane Ian this past week, which terrible. Like, it didn't seem to hit Tampa as hard as it was expected to, but it hit a lot of other places, and a lot of other places are recovering from it. But Tom Brady and his wife obviously left Tampa. And when they left Tampa, they stayed in different houses. So Tom Brady and Giselle rumors aren't just rumors anymore. It's actually like Giselle and Tom Brady are struggling. Giselle probably is just like, I don't want, you told me you were going to stop playing football last year and you didn't. And now you're playing again. Like, this is 2 years more. And like, his children are at the age where, they're very impressionable. Like, having their father around more often is helpful. And like, I mean, being an NFL player, you do get a lot of the year off. So, like, I guess he probably is around, like, maybe even more than a lot of, 9 to 5 fathers might be. But given that it's Tom Brady, he probably isn't around. He's probably just like throwing passes or studying film or something. So, like, Giselle is clearly upset. Tom Brady's looks like he's losing so much weight, which is just weird. Like, as an NFL quarterback, you never want to lose weight. Like, some quarterbacks, Peyton Manning was kind of chubby for most of his career, honestly. Like, you don't want to be a skinny quarterback.
Yeah.
So Tom Brady just having a lot of trouble. What do you think about the situation?
I initially was like, I mean, I think maybe the first or second episode we talked about them, and we were like, yeah, I think Giselle has to be unhappy with him like coming back and on all this stuff. He took time off during preseason, and then and now it's just kind of sad because it seems like they actually are like maybe splitting up, and I'm like, oh, that stinks. And then I was like, maybe like the national media like shouldn't be reporting on like a guy's marriage status. I was like, maybe that should be personal, and they should talk about his play on the field. I was like, yeah, that's probably it. Like, imagine if you were in the workplace, you're like going through a divorce, and they're like, yo, you hear like Brian, like, how's your divorce going? And you're like, bro, like, I just got to do these numbers. Like, come on, like, just trying to work. Like, yeah, you haven't been working as well ever since you started going through a divorce. And you're like, yeah, well, I'm sad, man. Jeez, like, that's literally what's happening right now. Like, they're real people that obviously they seem bigger than life, but they actually get sad if they're having a divorce. So that's literally what they're going through right now if they're actually getting a divorce. So I'm like, that kind of sucks.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, I think honestly, my hatership for Tom Brady has kind of clouded my judgment on that. But like, yeah, I mean, I think I think if any player was going through a divorce, they'd probably be playing worse. They'd probably like not be focused, maybe be losing or gaining too much weight. Like, I think it is personally affecting Tom Brady, and I think this is why you don't play football till you're 45 years
Yeah.
old. Like, you just stop
It's his
playing.
fault.
Yeah, like it's not like Giselle's like being unreasonable. Like, he tried to retire 2 years ago, and then he decided, never mind. Like, it's his fault.
Like,
So
I saw someone say that this is all Adam Schefter's fault because when Adam Schefter announced Tom Brady's retirement early,
yeah,
Tom Brady didn't get a chance to like formally retire. And so they were saying he was gonna actually retire, but then because Adam Schefter like said that, then he was like, okay, I'm gonna unretire actually, and then came back.
saw that too. He was like, only I can break my retirement
Yeah.
news.
Um, Cooper Rush or Dak Prescott. I'm going. I haven't watched Cooper Rush play at all. But that being said, probably Cooper Rush.
Okay, so you have watched Dak Prescott play, and you don't believe.
No, I've watched Dak play. Yeah, and I wouldn't want him to be my quarterback because he's like solid, but he just always gets hurt and then hasn't really done anything that cool, that impressive. And Cooper Rush, just really good name.
Cooper Rush does have a good name. I think, like, I know this is weird, but I think Dak Prescott is a better player. But I feel like the Cowboys team likes Cooper Rush more for some reason. Like, I feel like they just like him. And CD Lamb actually came out and said, like, Dak doesn't need to hurry back because we believe in Cooper Rush. And like, I think he was saying that, like, Dak, like, if you're not okay, don't come back. Like, wait till you're 100%. But you know, the media spinning that to be like, does what's the name? Wait, I just forget. Does CD Lamb prefer Cooper Rush over Dak
Yeah,
Prescott? You know,
like
so
what
like
you're doing right now.
exactly. And I mean, we got to consider it. You know, maybe he
Yeah,
didn't mean that. I didn't hear what he said word for word. Maybe they cut out something. Maybe this and that. So, you know, like, is Cooper Rush better? He's 2-0. Dak's 0-1. I mean, I guess this week's really going to decide if Cooper Rush goes out there and throws for 300 yards and 2 touchdowns, no picks.
Dak's
He's
0
gonna have
and
to
1. Like we're only counting this season for Dak.
Dak
Um,
won so many games.
Dak also just like makes as much money as their entire offense
Mhm.
combined, but is never healthy. So I could see just like imagine all the lead up to the season, Dak's going, "Oh, we're gonna be great. We're gonna this and that," and CD and all those guys are like, "All right, like you got to stay on the field." And then he gets hurt the first week, and they're like, "Bro, can we just move on? Can we get a guy that will throw to us? Because it's frustrating. I'm sure."
Yeah. Like, the weird thing about the Cowboys is maybe it's because they're the Cowboys, they get so much media coverage, but they have a lot of talented players. Like Ezekiel Elliott, I don't think he's that good anymore, but the guy behind him, what is his name? I keep forgetting his name.
Tony Pollard.
Tony Pollard, yeah, he's really good. And then CD Lamb he drops a lot of passes, but he's a good receiver. Um why do I keep forgetting these Cowboys guys' names? There are other
They have a
receivers.
good tight end, I think. I can't remember who he
Dalton
is.
Schultz is good, or Dalton or Dawson Schultz. I think it's Dalton Schultz. He's good. Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup's really fast. He's a good receiver. Like, they have a lot of talented players on their team, but they're just not that good every time. Like, they're always like 9-8 or whatever. Like, they're barely missing the playoffs every year, and it's like it's like the Commanders, only we're just worse. Like,
Yeah,
we go like 6-11, and they go 9-8. You know, it's
yeah.
like
But the difference is that the Cowboys, like we have Commanders fans like me that say like, "Oh, we're gonna like be great this year." I don't necessarily ever believe it, but I just say it because I want to believe it. But
yeah,
Cowboys fans think that they're the best team every year, every season, and like they think if they win the NFC East and make the playoffs, that they are just the best team of all time, and that's why everyone hates them. They're like, "No, bro, you guys are in a terrible division and you barely made it and you're going to lose first round to whoever you play." Like that's what the NFC East does except for the Eagles and Giants.
yeah. I feel like the Commanders. I feel like when we get Chase Young back, we'll actually be pretty good. Like, I think that, but I think that all the time. Like, every year, I'm always tricked into having some reason to believe. But this time, I feel like Chase Young's actually a very, very good player. And like, he just didn't get he like just didn't get sacks last season, which is like, yeah, kind of a down year, but he was still good. Like,
Yeah.
he's a good player, and this is his third season. He's got past his sophomore slump. I feel like once he gets on the field, our defense is going to transform. Because like, we saw the Steelers defense week 1 absolutely destroy. I can't remember who they were playing against, but they played. I think it was actually the Bengals. They played great against the Bengals, and then TJ Watt gets injured, and their defense looks completely different. So like, that great pass rusher is such a huge impact on your defense. Like, great pass rushers and great corners are just like, they're like the quarterbacks of defense. Like, if you have one, your defense can just like ascend.
Bro, what's up with the Watt brothers like tearing things? Like JJ Watt tore his like bicep one year or something, and I'm pretty sure TJ Watt just tore his pec just now or
Yeah.
something. These guys, they always get hurt. They're both absolute specimens and like pretty much spitting images of each other. But they very injury prone.
Yeah, like, I don't really know exactly what's going on, but pass rush and like brother duos are kind of in right now. Like, Joey and Nick Bosa, TJ and JJ Watt, like, they're all just like, if you get a pass rusher, go find his brother. Like, that's how you gotta draft that.
Yeah. Chase Young and Trey Young.
Yeah, yeah, that's that's good. Trey Young's a great pass rusher, actually.
Bro,
I
think
think I
about
saw
how
Trey Young.
different they would look if they stood next to each other. Trey Young is so skinny and small.
Chase Young's like 6'7", 280. Huge.
I see you have here, is Trayvon Diggs actually good? I think he is, but I think it's really hard to be a good cornerback in the league. One, it's hard in any profession to get like to know how high your worth is and how much money you're making or gonna be making and still produce. Like I know we see it as like, oh, it's a sport, but like I feel like some people's mentality does change when they get 100 million in the bank. They're like, I just want to go chill today. I don't like I made it. I'm not gonna make. I can't get richer. Like 150 million isn't really different from 100 million. So I feel like that plays into it. But then also like receivers want to kill you if you think you're the best cornerback. Like it happened with Josh Norman. Josh Norman was he allowed like 2 catches one year or something crazy when he was on the Panthers. They had a good all around defense, but and then he came to the Washington football team and we were terrible. Like he was terrible. Like he was getting burnt play after play and we paid him a bag. He was like better than probably our other cornerbacks, but like we never really have great cornerbacks. I think Diggs is still good, but I think he's gonna just like steadily decline. I think cornerbacks literally have like a 2 year window. Same happened with like Rogers Cromartie. He was amazing for like 2 years, and then he got a bag on like the Jets or something. I don't remember. And then like was just all right. He's good. He's not like a shutdown corner anymore though.
Yeah, like I think you're actually right about that corner window. Like, and people don't really realize it because it's kind of hard to like evaluate corners really because so many factors go into it. And like when a corner's playing good, like you don't really see them. So
Yeah.
it's like, I noticed when I saw Patrick Peterson was on like the Vikings. And I was like, is that Patrick Peterson? And they mentioned it was Patrick Peterson. I was like, he was like, making like $30 million like 4 years ago. And now he's like the fourth corner on the Vikings. Like
Yeah.
corners drop off so fast. And even this year, we're starting to see a Jalen Ramsey. He's getting burnt by a lot of people.
Yeah.
It's like quick. Like you're the top guy, and then you have like 2, 3 years, and it's gone.
It's
That's why
small. It's smaller than the running back window.
it kind of is. Like running backs, they like the good running backs like Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, like Saquon Barkley. Those guys last like 4 or 5 years at their like peak. Corners is like 2 or 3.
Yeah.
That's why like Deion Sanders, Daryl Green, Darrell Revis, like those guys were so great because it was like 7, 8 years where you were like, I can't throw against these guys.
Yeah. I was talking to Daryl the other day, and he was telling me that he, I don't remember who the guy was, but Daryl was like 40 or something. He was at Washington R words practice, and this rookie had come in that was like super highly touted, running like a 4.3 or something crazy. And they were like, Daryl, you guard him. And he said he couldn't get past 5 yards because I was just right where he wanted. And he had never like, and everyone thought, oh, he's going to burn Daryl because he's older or whatever. Or Daryl's teammates didn't think that, but like the fans watching the practice and stuff did. And he goes, I felt so bad embarrassing that young fella. He's like, he probably never like regained his confidence after that. Just like, I can't even burn an old man. I was like, those guys were really built. Those guys are really built different. Daryl Green, Deion Sanders, those guys.
Yeah, like Daryl Green's career is a complete anomaly because like a cornerback playing and starting for 21 years is like that doesn't make any sense. And then when he was like 50 years old, he ran a 4.4. Like Daryl Green, I feel like because we're Washington fans, we like know about him, but I feel like he doesn't get the recognition that he deserves. Like he was like probably like it's Deion Sanders and Daryl Green. Like when they
Yeah.
were playing, they were neck and neck. Deion got more publicity because he played for the Cowboys and he returned kicks and he got like touchdowns, but Daryl Green would like shut down receivers. You couldn't catch the ball on Daryl Green.
Wait, Deion Sanders, was he the one that also like played baseball? Like he was playing two
Yeah,
sports at one time. Yeah, he was just more publicized for sure.
yeah, Deion was like he was like the media guy. Daryl was never he was never big on media.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the haters corner. This segment is VVS's time to do what he does best. Expose people, things, and places and give them their well-deserved hate. VVS, who should we hate this week?
So this week, I'm actually not that excited to present this because I am hating on the NFL player safety as a whole. Like, this entire thing is like exactly what the NFL was afraid of and why they kind of hid CTE from us for years. Like the Will Smith made an entire movie about this, how the NFL knew about CTE in like the late 90s or something or early 90s. And we didn't hear a thing about it until what, 5 years ago when Junior Seau committed
Yeah.
and like they found like he had significant brain trauma and people were like, wait, this is from football, like he all this. And the NFL has taken like some steps, like they've revamped helmets and they have more extensive concussion
Bro,
protocol.
they're literally like, oh, 15-yard penalty if you give someone a concussion.
Yeah, like it's like the NFL needs to take this more seriously. Like I know fans like the old school like boomer fans, they don't like the targeting rule and how you get penalties for giving people concussions, but like they need to make the penalties for targeting more severe. They need to hold players out for concussions on a more consistent basis. Like whether it's Tua, whether it's Junior Seau, whether it's like Steve Young, he had like 25 concussions in his career and he's okay now, but like there are players that like Antonio Brown, we know something's not okay with that guy. Like that guy probably should have been held out of a bunch of games. Like we need to be more intent on like keeping these players' brains alive because like I guarantee you in 20, 30 years, people are going to look back on this and be like, how was this legal? Like, unless they change something, the entire NFL is going to go through like absolute nightmare of just like fines, lawsuits, and everything. Like, this is probably a one of the reasons why leagues like the XFL and the smaller leagues don't really make it, just because like the NFL, these guys are like essentially modern day gladiators. Like they get injured in ways that other sports players don't really get injured. Like it's they just need to do more.
Yeah, I agree with that. I don't really have much to add, but we had sort of
Yeah.
talked about Tua earlier. 100%, like that's up to, I feel like players are all for player safety. So it's not even the NFLPA, it's the NFL at this point, and Roger Goodell to pass through these like more strict rules. If someone doesn't like it, doesn't really matter. Like if they're like, "Oh, this player has to sit out. He's on my fantasy team. He has to sit out for 3 weeks because of concussion." Yeah, he does, so that he can live after he finishes playing like his
Yeah.
7-year career.
And I one more thing. I actually saw after the Tua game, Andrew Whitworth was on the panel and he's was a lineman on the Rams. He just won the Super Bowl and he retired after that. He's like 42 years old. He looks like he's bald with a white beard. Like he looks so much older than all the guys playing last year. But he was talking about concussions in general and he was like there was one game where I went out, I had a concussion, and I was like, "I'm okay, coach, put me back in." And he was like in the huddle, and one of his teammates looked at him and he was like, "You're not good to go. Like I can tell something's not all right. Like you got to go to the sideline." And he was like, "I was so grateful that my teammate did that for me." Looking back on it, like in the moment, I was like, "Come on, I can play." But like every player is gonna say that. Like I feel like yes, the NFL obviously needs to do more, and they need to have more like rules in place, but I feel like the teammates also got to look at this. Like every teammate of Tua's last week should have been like, "We can't have you in the game right now. Like we just saw what happened. Like you can't be playing right now."
Bro, they
Like
might should have like, I think teams might should have to have a concussion doctor at the game. I know they have doctors on staff, but they need to have a guy that's literally watching the game and going, they just smashed helmets. It was like, because I feel like the worst CTE doesn't happen on like, the worst concussion doesn't happen like necessarily on the ball carrier. It's the guys blocking. It's the players across the field. I think they almost need to have like a concussion doctor that's looking for stuff like that and going, all right, let's get this, let's check this guy out, because I feel like that is like valuable enough. We figured out that it is worth it, and like, what's $100,000 a year if you can like save players from that long term trauma stuff. So
yeah, like I feel like it would be so easy for the NFL to just hire like a neurologist to be at every game. And I feel like so many neurologists would just jump at that because, like, if you're a neurologist and you're hired by the NFL, that's automatically so much publicity for you. Like, outside of the NFL, if you just have to be at like 1 or 3 games a year, like, you get so much positive, like, PR after that. Your private practice is probably going to take off after that. So,
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. So hopefully the NFL will make moves. They don't even need to wait till next season. Like just do it now, honestly.
yeah.
Make at least make just rules of how long players have to sit out, and then maybe in the off season come up with some more concrete things that they could do for long term. I want to move on to the draft. So it's only a 2-person draft today. So this weekly draft is just us picking. Sometimes it's players, sometimes it's things. Today it's all time cereals. So I love cereal. I have always loved cereal. I think cereal is one of the most widely loved foods because it could be it could be sweet, it could be salty, it could be crunchy, it could be fruity, it could be chocolatey, it could be anything. So I want to do this best all time cereals. VVS, I'll let you go first. We'll just alternate. Oh, yeah, we'll just all. Do we need to? I feel like we don't need to do a snake draft for this. There's so many cereals. Snake draft would just be like you go first, then I go twice. We don't need to do that. We'll just do a regular. We'll just do back and forth, and we'll do. Let's do 4 picks because I don't even think I know 5 cereals that I would want to be on my list. So
Yeah. Okay. So, who goes first?
So you go first. Pick your best all time cereal.
Okay. I got to go with, I don't know if this is everyone's classic, but my childhood classic. I got to go Cinnamon
No.
Toast Crunch. I think that's #1 all time. Best cereal of all time.
I gotta act like that's a bad pick. Oh, bro, you like that one cinnamon, bro? Ugh, not even good.
Bro, Cinnamon Toast Crunch, like the milk after you finish it too. Oh, it's just so good.
It is. I'm gonna go with one that I liked my whole childhood, and I still like it a lot. I love it a lot. I don't get it, but it tastes amazing. Is Cap'n Crunch berries? That cereal is fire. It's got peanut. It's pretty much. It doesn't taste like peanut butter jelly, but it's a peanut butter jelly combination, pretty much, because it's got peanut butter and it's got the berry, and it just tastes amazing. Like the first couple bites, you're just like, that goes crazy.
So you like the peanut butter crunch berries?
Yeah, I think Cap'n Crunch in general is like peanut butter, right?
No, they got there's the peanut butter crunch berries, and then they got the regular.
Well, they have the peanut butter one, then yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, just that cereal in general is great. But
Yeah.
you're okay with sacrificing the roof of your mouth for that taste.
I didn't want to bring up the fact that it destroys your mouth. I didn't want to bring that up, but yeah.
All right, so my second pick is Frosted Flakes. Love Frosted Flakes. Tony the Tiger, one of the best mascots in history. The cereal, pretty simple. It's just, a cornflake with a bunch of sugar on it, but it's great. And one of the negatives about it, I will admit there are a couple negatives. You have about 3 minutes before it's just paper. So you got to eat it fast, but if you can, it's great.
That's true. I'm gonna go with something that's pretty similar in terms of the time frame you have to eat it. Fruity Pebbles. I love Fruity Pebbles. I used to eat them so much. I would always eat them at my grandma's house when I was a kid, and they are so good. You do have to eat them quickly because they will dissolve. But the good thing about when they dissolve is the milk tastes amazingly fruity and delicious. So Fruity Pebbles is my #2 pick.
Fruity Pebbles is definitely a good choice. I would say my next pick, it's one that I haven't eaten that much, but I feel like, oh no, wait, just kidding. Honey Nut Cheerios.
Oh, I was about to take Honey Nut Cheerios, bro.
Honey Nut Cheerios, just a classic. Everyone loves Honey Nut Cheerios. And I don't know how true this is, but they used to say that they're really great for heart health. I'm going to trust it because they used to say it, but I don't know if it's true.
They just say that because it's like low cholesterol. So like they're pretty much saying it doesn't hurt your heart, but then everyone's drinking it with like whole milk and it's not great.
Yeah, but I mean, Honey Nut Cheerios, great cereal, and it's just a classic. Everyone knows Honey Nut Cheerios.
I agree. I'm gonna go. My number 3 pick. Wait, I just had it. I forgot. Wait, let me see the list. Oh, bro, I just had it in my brain. And then I looked at this list of cereals and I forgot it. It was... I don't remember. I'm going to go with Trix, though. I really like Trix cereal. They started at the yogurt and they moved on to the cereal industry, and they're just delicious. Each one of those little flavors, they're probably all the same flavor, just different colors, honestly, but they taste great to me. I love those.
The colors really tricked us when we were kids. They
Yeah.
they all taste the same, but I know that I wanted those, like the pink or the red color. They were always the best flavor.
Yeah.
My next and I guess last pick is gonna be one that I haven't eaten that much of, but I know is definitely one of the better cereals. Raisin Bran. I think Raisin Bran is like healthy, maybe? Like, right? I think it's supposed to be healthy.
I love Raisin Bran personally. I wasn't gonna pick it because I know people hate on Raisin Bran so much because everyone thinks raisins are gross right now for some reason.
I like raisins. That's
Me
weird.
too.
I don't know why people would turn on those. They're just extra. They're like a more extra version of grapes. That's all.
I think people have PTSD from thinking a cookie has chocolate chips and then it has raisins as a kid. So people like started to hate raisins.
Well, for me, that's the opposite. I'm happily surprised with raisins because I don't like chocolate.
Yeah. I'm actually glad I saved my number 4 for fourth because I know you wouldn't pick this because you don't like chocolate, and this is kind of chocolatey. I'm going with Reese's Puffs.
Ooh.
Peanut butter chocolate flavor for my
Reese's
fourth
Puffs.
pick.
Good pick. They definitely got one of the better slogans for sure.
Yeah.
Reese's Puffs, Reese's
Like
Puffs.
when that kid would come on the screen and start rapping, bro. Let me tell you a fun fact. That kid was Meek Mill. Feel old yet?
Bro, I feel old.
Those memes are so funny.
Bro, I wouldn't even be surprised if that was Meek Mill.
Yeah.
He feels so weird.
But Meek Mill like came up from like battle rapping in the streets, so like it'd be crazy if a video of him like in a Reese's Puff commercial came out. Everyone would be like, "Bro, you lied."
He's like, wow, my parents put me in child acting stuff. I'm actually a child actor.
This guy's a gangster. His real name's Clarence. All right, that's all. That's a good draft. I'm gonna post a graphic of that on like Twitter and see who wins the voting.
Okay, sounds good.
All right. Well, that's all. Thank y'all for watching and listening. The Third Quarter Warriors are the best team ever, and we are the best podcast ever. New episodes every Monday. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Third Quarter Warriors. Peace.
Peace. Welcome to the third quarter, everybody.
What is this? What is going on right now?
I said, what the hell are you talking about?
What's my package look like? Yo!